Adventures, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wade in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on Wow, I'm hearing myself twice. Just a second. I knew this was going to happen. Well, can you hear everything normal now? Yay!
Everything's fine.
All right, perfect. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. This Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on January 25th, 2015. I'd like to say hi to everybody right away, but also to tell everyone today we have a new way that you can listen and watch the show, because for the first time ever, Show X is simulcasting on Alpha Geek Radio. So if you want to check us out and find an easy way to go grab us every week, you can check us out on the Alpha Geek Radio station over at alphageekradio.com and check out their Channel 1 whenever we are up and live. Both the audio and video cast should be receiving and seeing us as well. So hopefully everybody is jumping in there today. All right. I am joined, as always, by our good friend, Ken. Although I say as always like usual when you weren't here last week. So how you doing this week, Ken?
I am absolutely fantastic, sir. I've had a couple drinks, and I'm having a good time. And I'm here in Get Up celebrating Miss Kopie's birthday this week. So, first things off, happy birthday, Miss Kopie. This show is, on my behalf, show is dedicated to you.
Outstanding. Yes, it was Kopie's birthday this last week. Hopefully everybody got out there and got a moment to be able to welcome her into her new year of life. Celebrating getting... No, I was going to say something that would have sounded horrible. But happy birthday yet again, Kopie. I think that's like 3 times officially for me in the last week. We love you. You're a great part of the show. But yes, actually, you talk about wanting to be get up for today's show, and how you're saying you wanted to be, nice and dressed up to be able to celebrate Kopie's birthday. I too wanted to be dressed up for today's show. Because, I'm feeling a little bit of reminiscence or a little bit of nostalgia now and missing Scotland a little bit. So I want to make sure I looked properly Scottish today. So I made sure to go out and I picked up a good trackie.
Oh my god. Oh, no way. Wade's a Ned. Wade's a Ned. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, man. Okay, let's do some research here, folks.
That's accurate, right? Isn't that about right? Or wait, do I have to have it all the way zipped up, or does it have to be like partially down? How do I need to wear this?
It'd be actually helpful if you had well, they're not Kappa trackies, first of all, so it's the wrong brand, but they're still trackies, so you're kind of a cheap Ned, if anything.
Well, I mean, it's all I could really find around here. I wasn't sure what brand of the proper Ned would have.
And you don't have the Burberry hat or a bottle of Bucky in hand, so you're missing out a couple of things. But
I do have some rum chata and Fireball.
You'd probably get stabbed. You'd probably get chibbed for that one in the streets of Scotland. But let me read this out loud. Ned is a derogatory term applied in Scotland to hooligans, louts, or petty criminals. Laterally, with the stereotypical implication that they wear casual sport clothing. Such usage in Glasgow dates back to the 1960s or earlier. So there you go. That's what a Ned is. And Mr. Wayne is joining us today as a, oh man, that's pure totally chuck it, man, Ned.
So that's the proper way it would be said?
I said, oh man, that is totally disgusting, like, man.
Ha! Wow. No, I definitely missed that.
Yeah, thankfully you missed out on a lot of that stuff while you're here, somewhat intentionally. Regardless, I am absolutely a big fan of your clothing. I want to smoke a joint with you and drink lots of cheap alcohol. I think that sounds like a great idea.
That's how that works?
Yeah, that's how it works. Fandabidosi. You're a modern Scot.
That's good to know. See, I did it well. Well, we're going to jump right into things this week with a little bit of
dysfunctional deviations.
So this week on Dysfunctional Deviations, Ken, what have you been up to since you weren't here last week?
Well, sir, I've got 2 weeks of stuff to catch up on. Let's see, what have I been up to? This week, I just arrived back 2 days ago from England. I was down in Bristol doing some work stuff. So that was fun. And last week, I wasn't here because I was attending Slipknot, a concert. So that was interesting, especially considering that's not exactly my music taste.
Interesting, you say.
So that was a lot of fun. I think everybody's kind of well acquainted with my strange, geeky music taste. I think a lot of us have in kind of similar there. I do love some mashups. I do love lots of geeky things from Joko or Molly Lewis, who we'll be having back on the show shortly, FYI, everybody. And much other things similar to that. So I went to go see Slipknot and Korn and some other band that was supporting them. So that was a bit strange, but my friend Graham, who you've all met as well, he suggested, in fact, he said, "Hey man, I got you this for Christmas," and I thought, "Oh geez, that sounds scary, but thank you." So we went along, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I was scared because I knew that it was going to be a large event and it was going to be filled with, well, I'm sure a lot of normal people like Slipknot. They do. However, what would you think a strange person would like? A strange person would probably like Slipknot, right? Because Slipknot's kind of like, oh, let's talk about death and maiming and killing people and lots of horrible things. And the entire theme of the concert was based around pretty much summoning the devil, considering there was a giant, like, horned head on the stage that kept lighting up with different colors and there was fire and everything. It was very hellish themed, which is an interesting take, and that's kind of Slipknot's view in their latest album anyway. So I went along to that, and that was a little bit strange considering all that. And it does attract a strange crowd. There were so many people dressed up for that in scary, scary ways. And a lot of people were acting rather scary. Thankfully, I wasn't threatened with my life this time, unlike last time I said I was in Glasgow, a bar. But this time it was quite safe. I walked in. This is called the Hydro in Glasgow. Feel free to look it up. It's quite a beautiful stadium, I'll say. They do a lot of gigs there. Ken Features has seen the script there before, and now I've seen Slipknot there, and it's a beautiful looking stadium. The first thing happened when I walked in, and I was just it was like walking into, and this is absolutely so geeky, but it was like walking into a cavern in Minecraft, like a crater that somebody's exploded and you didn't quite realize, and you just see vast amounts of space. That's what it looked like. I was expecting to go in and see a building, but what I saw was nothing for a long while, and then the rest of the building quite far away, because it was so freaking massive. I don't know how much it can hold, actually, but I'll find out. But it was a huge stadium, and that alone I was impressed by, and it was absolutely packed for people wanting to see Korn and Slipknot. So, absolutely insane to see something like that. It's called the SSE Hydro, the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre. It has a capacity of 13,000, so it was absolutely packed full that day. 13,000 people there, and it was just insane to see the amount of people. Thankfully, we had seated tickets, so we sat up
so
at
you
the top
didn't
of the
just have to
audience,
like stand in the pit the entire time.
and we saw the crowds flowing. Like, it wasn't staying still and moving up and down occasionally. It was a movable creature. It was back and forth, up and down, separated sometimes, only to come together when certain parts of the song came on. Amazing. It was absolutely beautiful. Now, I like Korn as a band, so I genuinely enjoy the music and I really enjoy the show. Now, I would say they put on better music than Slipknot did. However, Slipknot put on a better show. So Slipknot were really good at making you think, oh my god, this is like a performance. This is like going to the theater. It was amazing. For a very specific genre, but it was still an amazing performance. So I was kind of blown away by that. And the couple of songs that I do like by Slipknot, they blew my mind. Psychosocial, for example, when that came on, the whole crowd was just singing their hearts out. So that was really enjoyable. But the best part was definitely Korn. The lead singer had his birthday that day.
Oh, wow.
So they pulled out this Scottish cake, and he was wearing a kilt, by the way. He normally does, but it's particularly appropriate, obviously. And during one song, he came out with a set of bagpipes as well, so the crowd went absolutely crazy, because that's just a sheer...
That's playing to the home audience right there is what that is.
Definitely. So we really appreciate that. The crowd was going crazy for Korn, because they were really trying to interact well with the audience, and they were trying to know their local crowd. And during the happy birthday part, the whole audience sang happy birthday. 13,000 people sang happy birthday to him.
I bet that sounded pretty epic.
It was scary. It was like this kind of scary concert with flame and death themes, interrupted with "Happy Birthday to you."
Hey, devil worshippers and those that are into the occult and things like that have birthdays too.
That's true. They like cake. So it was a lot
Everybody
of fun.
likes cake.
And an obvious theme as well that was a little bit scary there is there was no age restriction. It said you should be with an adult if you're 18 plus or whatever. But it was not like a definitive. So there was a lot of like kids there. And I remember looking around seeing like a 8-year-old nearby and this crowd of crazy people throwing themselves around, throwing their own bodies into other people just to get more adrenaline rush during the music. And there's these kids nearby. I was sitting thinking, that's a bit inappropriate. If I was an adult, I would not, if I was a parent, I would not be letting my kids go to somewhere like this unoccupied without parental guidance, you know, because that's scary. I wouldn't want my kid to be in the middle of a crowd like that. But absolutely amazing performance by both bands. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't think I'd see Slipknot again. That's kind of a one-time thing, but I'd happily go see Korn again because I actually enjoyed singing along to their music, and they really did put on a good performance as well. So
Nice.
I would recommend them.
Yeah, it's always wonderful when a band puts on a show, makes you really feel like it's worthwhile being there. That it's not just, like everything, it's because I've seen lots of different bands over the years, and there's ones that just sound good. They're just up on stage, and I appreciate those. I mean, honestly, like when I go see The Cure, it's really just about listening to Robert Smith sing and hearing it live and seeing the joy he has playing the music and stuff like that, where it's like, you know what, this is what I want, why I'm here. And then there's times when I went and saw groups like Limp Bizkit or LMFAO or any of these groups that just put on a show. When I went and saw No Doubt, the show they put on was phenomenal. The stage presence, running around, really playing to the crowd, everything like that was just like, you know what? This is a blast. And so, yeah, I really like bands that put on a good show.
Nice. Yeah, no, I can totally agree with that. Although I'm not a big fan of The Cure, but I'm also a fan of Slipknot, so I can totally see your point that
I understand that you
don't
still
enjoy
need
the
to
music.
Yeah, I understand you
Yeah.
still need to work on your taste in music. I understand.
So yeah, this week I flew down to Bristol with work, and I flew back up on Friday. So I flew down Wednesday, came back Friday. Stayed in a lovely hotel. Obviously, I can't talk about the work side of things, so I'll talk about the
Although I will
outside working
say,
hours.
picture-wise, you looked quite debonair. You looked very well put together
thank
for the
you,
work
sir.
stuff. I was kind of impressed.
In fact, for anybody interested, I might actually if I screen share, will it break everything?
No, you can screen share.
I can screen share. I'm going to screen share.
Then they'll
Okay,
see it on
let's
your
see.
piece of the screen, since I don't think I have it set up to pull yours full screen.
Okay. So here's a bunch of people that nobody knows. There's me, having the best time. So there was free wine at the table. I knew the bar was extremely expensive. It cost me £15 for a double Disaronno, which is about $30, $25. So that was a bit crazy. So I made the most of the free wine, and there was an open bar till 8, thanks to one of the bosses putting his card behind the bar. So that was good fun. I made the most of that, and as you can see, I was clearly well ahead of the crowd at this point. This was early hours as well, and I was having the best time. There I am with that photo that was just taken in the background with another friend of mine who just won an award, and I'm having the best time in the background again. We went to Nando's and it was good fun. We were all looking very debonair, as you mentioned. There I am at the back, looking very fancy.
Look at
James
that, like
Bond
tuxedos
style.
and stuff all around.
Oh yeah, and that my freaking bow tie kept falling off. I hate that thing.
Was it a
But yeah, it
properly
was good.
tied bow tie, or was it like a little clip-on around the neck?
Maybe a clip-on, but it was still a good time. So we had a lot of good fun. The hotel was lovely. There's a picture of outside during the morning. I was actually first one up that morning after the drinking because, well, let's just say I had a good time, right? I had a great time, and as such, I realized how much I was drinking and thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to go through a flight tomorrow extremely hungover. I'm going to bed now, 11:30. Some of the guys stayed up until 7:15.
Whoa!
That's when they stopped drinking.
The next
And the
morning.
the next morning. And they only stopped drinking because the staff came in and said, we need to get ready for breakfast. So there was also a drinking competition between the Scots and the English.
Oh no! How did that go?
I think it's called a boat ride. And basically the idea is there's 3 people in each team. And then one by one, each one has to down a pint. The second person can only start his drink once
Once
the first
one finishes, yeah.
and the third after the second. So
Yeah,
on.
we call those either things like cascading or like
similar
any of
thing,
those,
right?
yeah.
So once the third person's finished, they put their cup on their head, and that's done. So it really depends on each person together, all being fast. So with each person doing that, by the time the Scots had finished their last drink, the other team would start. The English people have started their second. So that kind of emphasizes just how fast they were. I wasn't there and I didn't take part, which is probably for the best because it was pints and not spirits. And I can drink anybody down with I can put anybody under the table with spirits, but beers, oh no, thank you.
See,
I can't even finish a beer.
the problem with beers is they fill you up. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
When you drink liquor, a good proper, man's drink like, rum chata with a little bit of fireball in it, something creamy and delightful in your mouth.
Man's drink.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
man's drink.
At least say
Bite
whiskey
yourself.
or
Bite yourself.
something.
This is a man's drink. Shush. I'm a man and I'm drinking it and I'm proud. That's what I had last
Okay.
night too. It's wonderful. So, but yeah, these go down so much easier and they don't fill you up. They just make you feel all happy, loose and fun. If
Oh, that's
you're
true.
in the
That's
legal
true.
drinking age of the country you live in.
Indeed. So that was Bristol. I can't think anything what else happened. I made the most of the company spending limit with the food and the drinks and stuff. That was good fun. The flight back was a little bit terrible because the plane. For anybody in the video wall will see this, or anybody watching the YouTube stream, the plane kind of did this, swayed
Yes.
left and right as we were landing.
Oh, I hate the swaying. If it's just solid,
it's
even
so
if it's
bad.
flying in at like an angle sideways, I'm better with that than like listing side to side or any pockets that make it drop suddenly.
It's
Those
horrible.
I hate.
Plus, since most people were quite hungover, as you can imagine, on the plane, most people fell asleep, even though it was just a 45-minute plane ride. Most people were asleep, and at one point during the air, smooth sailing, no problem. Then we just felt a.
Yep, that's that sickening
That
feeling.
is
That's just
so
the
bad.
worst.
Where the plane goes down, but you stay where you are, so you sort of get lifted up your seat. You're like, and everybody just felt their like stomach drop as well.
And you get
Everybody woke
you
up,
hear the whole
everybody's-
you hear the whole plane get quiet for a second.
Yeah,
And then afterwards,
yeah.
that's when you hear like babies start screaming and little
Yep.
kids kind of like and stuff like that. Yeah, I hate that feeling.
Then you see, I'm not a fan of flying. I don't like flying. I can do it. For example, I'm doing it next week, and I just did it. I can do it, and I forced myself into it because I look at the stats, and my logical mind realizes that I am more likely to survive a plane.
Wait, no.
journey than I am in a
Yeah, I
car.
was gonna say careful because you said journey. Because if you had said plane crash, I was gonna call you out
Oh,
on
no,
that
no,
one.
no, no. Actually, that's a good point. I've not looked up plane crash statistics. Okay, I'll look at that later. But my point is, I'm more likely to survive any plane journey than I am a car journey. Because car journeys are more likely to crash and die. Difference is, a plane crashing, it's not a boom, you're dead. It's okay, we're 30,000 feet up or whatever, and then we're gonna fall for 5 minutes, and then you're gonna die. That is the scariest thing to me. So the slightest is just terrifying to me. So I was good. I held it together. Nobody even noticed that I was scared. I just sat there listening to music loudly with my headphones on, concentrated on the game I was playing, and I was just keeping my emotions internal. Just like, nope, not gonna freak out in front of the entire all my colleagues. Nope, just gonna sit here and be professional-ish. So that was pretty scary, but thankfully we landed safely. Everything was fine. As is apt, we landed in Scotland and it was raining, and we thought that was appropriate.
Of course.
And got a taxi back and it was all good, so no problem. So that was all of Bristol. That was good fun. I really enjoyed that. I wish we could go back more often. Sadly, it's a yearly thing. Next week, two things. I'll be quick with one of them. I'm going to the dentist for the first time
Wait,
in a
what?
year.
Oh, okay, in a year. I was gonna say for the first time ever.
But the problem is, this time, for the first time ever in my life, I have a pain.
Ooh, that always sucks.
So it's not too bad. It's only when I eat certain things, like for example, anything that kind of gets embedded in my teeth that like sort of pushes down the middle of your molar, that makes it hurt. So it's anything that touches the very center. So I have a feeling what that means. So I'm a little bit scared, and I'm going to go by and they say, "Oh, you need root canal surgery. Aren't you lucky?" I've never had it, and I don't want to ever have it.
Oh,
So
I hope
I'm
that
really
is not the
scared.
case. I'm hoping you just maybe have a cavity that's a little sensitive right now, because that
Yeah.
would be much less the awful.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see how that goes. That's on Wednesday. That's just my appointment. So we'll see. I'll probably be able to update you all on what's actually going to happen come next Sunday. So we'll see. Speaking of next Sunday, I'm going away to Amsterdam for the weekend.
Okay.
Flying all over the place recently. The flight to return back. Now we fly out from Amsterdam at 5:05. We arrive here at 6:40. No, the flight's not just over an hour. It's just the time zones. That's partly why. So we're going back in time. So in theory, if I get a taxi back, I'll be in maybe about 7:15. So that's the plan. The plan is for me to be in 15 minutes into the show. To run in, go on Skype, say, "Hey guys, I'm here." So we'll see how that goes. If there's any complications, that might not be the case, but we're certainly hoping so. I'll book a taxi in advance to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible, because I don't want to miss the show. But we'll see. So that's my whole my non-geek cred. That's what's going on with me. This is my first time in Amsterdam. This is going to be, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll update and as much as I can on air, and give you guys an update in terms of
your experience. Yes,
yeah.
your experiences in Amsterdam. I understand. No, that's very good.
Indeed.
Well,
so that's been my whole week again. So did you have any comments?
Well, no. With that, as you'd mentioned, what's going on next week, and I'll have to double check the schedule. It's okay if you're a little late, Ken, although you'll be late to the party as always. Because we should be having, but I will have to double check, make sure it's the right weekend and that everything's still set up. Next week should be another special guest show with Lily from the new season of King of the Nerds on TBS. And so I have to double check that that's when we booked it for, but that should be next week. I will
try my hardest not to be late.
We'll keep track to the front page on VTWProductions.com as well as the Twitter feed, and I will make sure to update when I know for sure that we've got that confirmed. But that should be coming up, and as Ken mentioned, as well as another future guest, which will be our friend Molly Lewis, coming back to hopefully serenade us again some more in the near future. So look forward to that coming up. And if you haven't seen the new season, it aired last Friday, so the 23rd was the first episode. If you have a normal cable or some kind of television connection, you should be able to go back and watch it online. Now, I say that for U.S. viewers. I can't say that for anyone out of the U.S., as I have come to learn their restrictions change depending on where you live. So check that out. You need to go watch it. I'm sure there's ways you can acquire or see it online if you can't get through to the normal station stuff, but I definitely recommend checking out my friend Lily so you have a little reference when we have our interview. All right, so let's see.
Definitely.
What have I been doing that hasn't been so geeky this week?
Just a quick button. I just checked the driving times. It should take us 9 minutes to get home. If I get back at 6:40, I should be, and I take 5 minutes to get bags or whatever. We'll have 10 minutes spare getting home to turn on the computer, to make sure the heating's working, so on and so forth. So that'll be, should be fine. I'll be here.
That's good to hear. Hopefully you do. And I just got to throw it out there because I'm really happy today. And I don't know if it's because of our added access through Alpha Geek today or not, but we have a very full and jumping video wall today in our Google Hangout, where everyone likes to kind of chill out, see each other as they listen to the show. I'm very happy to see that. As we can see, my brother Earth, we see the Mighty Stoners in there, our friend Kopii, yourself and I. Of course, Mr. Hondo is in there. The epic, elegant, the ever so wise of all of the gnomes, Mr. Gnomewise, has joined us, as well as a good friend, Lieutenant Fork. And so, look at everyone in there. That is awesome.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
We are jumping today.
Everything is jumping today. This is going well. So, I'm trying to think of other things I've been doing this last week that haven't been geeky. The one thing that comes to mind, because it really is just yesterday, and maybe that's because that's all that can be on my mind, is I joined a bunch of friends. I'm busy all the time, but I ran down to Pueblo, our city down close where friend Kotaro lives, as well as Tom Bad Guy and the crews from Tales of Relevant Thought, where those guys reside. And unfortunately, I was only there long enough to kind of pop in, do the event I went to, wake up this morning, and head back in time to get here for the show. But what I went to yesterday was apparently a yearly event that goes on this time of year down there called the Fasching. And it is said, I know I can't say it right, it's something like the Fasching, because it is a German event. And essentially it's a version of the German Carnival. Carnival that happens down in South America primarily and is a massive event. This is a German celebration of the same thing, so essentially a big masquerade ball. Which was a lot of fun. So for my group, I was invited down mostly because of my love of costumes and things like that, cosplay and the such. And, I wonder, I could probably bring up photos much like you did. to show just some examples of the things that I was running into. Let's see if I can find, all the appropriateness. Because I was originally, the people I was hanging out with were really wanting to do basically Muppets and such, or in this case, Sesame Street themed costumes, because you don't have to do it in a masquerade. And so the gals that were inviting me there were doing it with the, let's see, what do they have? They essentially did Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Elmo, but like sexiest versions of those, sexy versions of them.
What? That
What?
sounds weird.
What do you mean weird?
Come
Completely
on,
normal.
give me examples. Come on, I need to see them.
So I'm actually, I'll go to one of the members of the party, their page, because I think they have more pictures to show. There we go. Let's see. And so of that though, and I want to make sure I only show the necessary pictures for the event. So that I can be all ah man, this thing's go hiding from me. This is the problem with trying to do it all real time, right?
That's the
All right.
fun. What are you talking about? That's half the fun.
All right, so we'll start here and we'll see how this goes through. I'm sure they will totally appreciate me throwing this on air. So for those watching the video feed, I'll go through the pictures real quick. But at the Fasching, this is us all driving down to the event. And essentially the pictures of the costumes made. So my friend Patrick and I went as costumes we both had a part in, but I basically came up with the shirts and made those crafty like Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Dr. Seuss. And so, fully entitled, where I made the shirts. Yeah, you should have seen it all on Facebook, but saw the shirts there. And then my friend Jamie added the tutus as well as the leggings that she had to go acquire for us. And being that we're both two grown men, the leggings she found she couldn't find at just like a Walmart or a Target like that or something like that. She had to go to one of our local establishments for larger women, a Lane Bryant store, which I had to bring up because she wanted me to share the story she ran into where at Lane Bryant she was, as she said, she was thin shamed when she went in. I really shouldn't have said the name of the store, but oh well, too late now. Won't say which one, but yeah, basically the members there, she came in and she'd called ahead of time to say, hey, do you have, tights that would fit this size of person? Because they can support people of many sizes. But they do have a minimum size, which is bigger than her. And so,
do you support men?
Well, so she was trying not to be insensitive, and so didn't say anything about that that these types were for men. Just said so for some friends. And so she came in and said, yeah, I'm trying to put together these outfits for a bunch of us, our group, and need these, I don't really know the sizes, but here's how tall they are and how much they weigh. And so it was getting some help. But she said the moment she'd walked into the store, this rather large gentleman who worked there, as well as the gal, looked at her kind of like, what are you doing here? Why are you in this store?
Yeah.
And she was just like, hey, I called a little earlier about some tights. And the guy was kind of like, did you get a call about some tights? And so I was like, oh yeah, and looked at her, was like, obviously not for you. And it's like, just like, they kept like saying stuff that was basically like, do not, this, how dare you like come in here and buy this, and you should not be here, essentially. And so it was bad because, regardless of what you sell in a store, you shouldn't judge a client coming in to pay like that. So, yeah.
If they're willing to give you their money, then who gives a crap if you think it's appropriate for them or not? That's pathetic. That's a bad mindset. But then you're there to make money. What are you doing?
Yeah, so that she just had a whole ordeal with that, so I had to share it that she got slim shamed for being too thin to be in the store she was part of. Anyhow.
Thin shamed. Lol.
Yes. So this is getting ready. We're at the Fasching, and so you see people in various costumes, everything from very bright get-ups and sizes. And you see a bunch of photobombs from my friend Jamie in the background. I do have to also give credit to her outfit she was wearing because in order to make the thing all look right, instead of trying to find a blue cami top that was shiny like the rest of her Cookie Monster outfit, she is wearing duct tape around her. And when I say she's wearing duct tape, it is just duct tape. And so it was directly applied to the skin and was bound around her in such a way that nothing was going to accidentally fall out. We'll put it this way. And so it was quite tight on her, and there's a story to be had at the end of this. But the event as a whole was just a lot of fun. Dancing. It actually, when we walked in, because it was kind of this auditorium, but it was in a dance center, felt a lot like we were at a school dance from like back in high school time frame or something.
Aw.
And jokingly, as we went in there, I looked like, doesn't it have this kind of vibe? And then one of my friends who was there was like, no, wait. And he went and stood against the back wall and kind of like hid in the corner. He's like, now it feels like a school dance. I was just like, yes. But so the final shot of the night that I'll show is a group. We went to a place to eat, and I really wish I remembered the name of it. And hopefully people will let me know that are either listening or friends. But it was like this really late night open area down in Pueblo that had all kinds of different breakfast and lunch foods, just little sliders. So like tiny little hot sandwiches, like burgers and such, but smaller size. And I was not prepared for how good the food was there, but good damn, it was good food. But this final picture is basically showing my outfit, and I really was trying to embrace the idea of being Thing 1 from Dr. Seuss, where I was running around barely talking and basically jumping up and down and mimicking people behind
I'm not
them.
entirely familiar, so
I know, it's a book, it's old, I mean, reading, kids thing, is probably way before your time, so I understand. But for those who want to be educated a little bit about some great poetry and stuff that's really well written for kids, check out some Dr. Seuss and Thing 1, Thing 2 from Cat in the Hat. And you will find them. But they basically cause all kinds of mayhem. And so for a modern version of how they act, think Deadpool. Very much like Deadpool, but without talking. And that will kind of get you right on board with how they respond to everything around them. And so, yeah, that was like the big to do. It was a lot of fun. So that's basically what I did. That wasn't with the big parts being having to do a costume in less than a week. Because originally we were going to try to meet the Sesame Street theme, and be Bert and Ernie. But I was going to try to do like pimp versions. But trying to actually create a mask that would fit for Bert and Ernie in less than a week when it's not a holiday season that you would normally wear costumes, surprisingly difficult. And so I reverted to the Thing 1, Thing 2, and I think it actually came out very well, although we did not win the costume contest. I was very disappointed. But my friend Bonnie did win funniest costume with her Big Bird costume she made, which was outstanding. So the final piece on that, when last night after event and getting all undressed, the rest of us just kind of like threw every caution to the wind and costumes went wild. Jamie, on the other hand, due to being bound, quite literally, by adhesive tape, had to remove it. And that was an experience for all of us in the room.
Oh, that sounds painful.
You couldn't just unwrap it or wrap it around, so what we did is kind of pulled it away from her back as little as we could and took scissors and kind of went down and cut through it, which started the whole thing because she was just kind of like, ouch, stop. And we're like, we barely even pulled it, and she's just like, Eventually got it cut all the way through, which by itself was just like, what?
Shame.
And then she went into the bathroom to finish up the ordeal herself, for the most part. Her boyfriend went and tried to help her a few times. But we basically closed the door, and she was kind of trying to soak it in the bath while also slowly peeling it off. But she was making noises that I cannot repeat on air, that throughout the entire time where we could just kind of hear it out of the room. And I have to admit, I was not being kind because we were laughing, or at least I will say I was laughing, at all of her misery. I won't throw her friends under the bus, but I was definitely enjoying her misery because it was one of the most entertaining things I could have possibly been witness to. No, she survived, and unlike when she tried it the first time, I don't think she lost any nipples, and so I think she's okay. But
she lost her nipples the first time?
No, but almost. It was one of those things she had to check the tape to be sure. And she had done it the first time and actually had told herself she was going to cover certain areas with something else while doing it. But when it came time to apply, she was just like, just do it. Yeah, she was regretting that decision afterwards. But no, overall, great night. And that's pretty much what I will talk to, not having done anything otherwise non-geeky this week. So let's jump over and decide to talk about some things that are geeky. And so with that, we'll... Hey, no.
Hashtag wrecked by Kopii.
No, hashtag wrecked by me, because I did the whole
was like, no more of your silly chat.
Yeah, no, that was me. Okay, so I put things out of order in the broadcasting software. My fault. But to do it correctly...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
So, today on Geek Cred, Ken, what have you been doing the last 2 weeks that's been geeky for you to talk about?
Skyrim. Okay, next segment, your turn. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim. I think I went from... So it's been 2 weeks, right? I think I went from 260 hours to 313.
Wow.
53 hours in 2 weeks, that's a lot of my spare time.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I
you
think
had mentioned that you had just kind of like gotten back on board with Skyrim, right?
To be fair, yeah, there was a slight amount just before last show. A couple hours. But a good 50 or so, I think, have been the past 2 weeks. I've been playing the hell out of Skyrim again. I've made 3 characters in that time. First character was Sneak, Stab, Khajiit. I'm not a fan of Khajiits, but I decided to try it since
Yes,
I've gone
this
to
was
that Cassia
your
Manigan comic.
Your first thing to get into the furry realm. I know you're slowly bringing yourself about.
Then I decided I didn't like my character and moved on to another one. I decided to go for a hulky orc. I was like, you know what? I never do warriors. Why do I never do warriors? I like warriors. I'm going to do a warrior. And each character I did smithing is one of my main things, just so I can get rid of... I've got a mod which smelts down armor and weapons into ore. So I did that a lot, and I thought, the second guy, this makes sense, because he's going to be a warrior. So I made an orc, and I got my smithing to level 80 or something high, like that. And then I thought, you know what? The warrior combat is so boring. I don't want to play this. So I did Sneak, Stab. I did warrior, and then I went mage, and that's the one I've been playing the most of. So I've completed the mage storyline with a mage. So my elf is now a archmage. I love that because I'm doing the vampire quests at the moment right now.
Okay.
I went to this one. There's a slight spoiler alert, but for God's sake, if you've not played Skyrim this far, you are missing out, and you deserve to be told anyway. There's this part in the storyline of the vampire quest where basically you go to collect this special blood fountain thing from this cave in the middle of nowhere, and you go in there and you find 2 of your brothers and sisters in there with you. And they're like, oh, I came here to kill you and take the reward for myself. Then the other one says, in fact, I came here to kill both of you and take the reward for... And I thought, oh my god, this is a horrible storyline. Fus, Rota! Pushed them down, fireballed them both, and they both just exploded. It was freaking
You're basically
awesome.
like, I'm already tired of hearing this conversation. Why don't you just fall over and die?
Bitch, you guys are vampires. I'm a vampire archmage. Try it. It was just like, are you really, like, what is wrong with you? Do you know anything of who I am? I am literally the guild master for every guild in the land. I am the most skilled person you'll come across, and I'm the Dragonborn! Come on! Like, what are you doing? You should know by now. So I destroyed them, and it's so satisfying when you get, because at the start with mages, when you play a mage character, you run out of mana so quickly, and it's really difficult to get your skill levels up high enough to do enough damage. So I often relied on followers or paying people to help me out and stuff in the game. But now that I'm a high level, it's just, I am a god. And it's just like, did you just talk back to me, random guy in a city? Destroy you. 2,000 gold bounty? I've got like 40k. Here you go. No problem. So I'm running around as this overpowered god of a mage. And just, I'm really enjoying it right now, because normally, like, if you're playing overpowered in a game, it's not fun, because you're like, oh, well, it's no challenge. But because I've earned it, and I went through the challenges to get here, it's like I'm basking in my own glory. I'm just walking through the streets, taking what I want from people, killing who I want, I don't know, just doing whatever I want to, stealing whatever I want to, and so on. And it's been a great time. So I'm still enjoying it. I'm expecting to fall out with Skyrim within the next week, though. Because that's how I work.
Oh, at that point you will have had enough?
I'll be sick of it by that point, in a week or two. I felt it early on today, and I quit it at one point, and I thought, did I just quit that? Did I actually close it willingly, not because I had to go to bed or something? Strange. I must be getting to that point, so I know soon I'm going to give up on it again. But we'll see when that comes. It might be into the next week, might be 2 weeks. And I don't know what to go on to next. I'll probably go back to LOL, because that is my go-to in the middle of games game. So we'll see what happens with that. But any suggestions are welcome. I enjoyed Nation Red for a while after I played it with you. I put another 10 hours or so into it. So I enjoyed that for a little while, but it's not really a full game. It's more of a mini game. So yeah, I'm looking around. I've now got 325 games in my Steam list as of last week. So that's because I bought a couple of bundle packs for $1. So I've got a ridiculously large Steam library, and I don't know what to play.
That is a challenge and always painful. Did you see that there's a site that had come out, and I forget who had showed it to me before, that will rate now, instead of just showing you like how much your Steam is valued, but how long it would take for you to complete all the games in your Steam list?
So
yeah,
I'm
afraid to go to it.
I saw that Graham did it, and I knew that he had more games than me, so I expected him to take longer. But I went and checked anyway. Yeah, mine's was, actually, let me check, 3,506 hours, or 146 days, 17 hours, and 8 minutes. So
hey, that's at least still doable in your entire lifetime, right? You can still at least complete that. So that's a goal you can make if you didn't buy a single another game the rest of your life.
In this time, I could drive from Alaska to the tip of South America 8 times.
Well, in that case, it just sounds like it depends on what's most important to you.
That's true. I don't really want to do that. So, yeah, that's true. 145 days is only half a year. I mean, if you think of it that way, that's not that crazy.
That is not that bad. That's a lot of good games.
Considering I need to sleep. So let me just work that out really quickly here. Okay. 143 days, let's just say. 144 days. 143. 143 days. So in
you only need to sleep like 6 hours a day max.
So let's say 143 plus 7 times 143 plus I need to eat, so let's put plus 2 hours a day eating. No, that's a bit much. About an hour a day. So 1 plus 143 again, just for one hour a day. Plus, let's see, what else do I do? I need to socialize with the wife, so let's do 3 hours a day. 3 times 143.
Ah, you're killing me. You're killing me. You're already not dedicating yourself like you should be.
Yeah, that's not doable. I'm not gonna go into that. Point being, I think it would take a good few years to actually do that. Of constant non-stop in my spare time. I'm gonna avoid that. And besides that, I don't know why I would possibly want to finish Bookworm Deluxe, The Ball, Audio Surf. How
so
can it be completed?
Some of those are games that's like, why do you even own those? But I won't get into that because I don't want anyone investigating my library.
Wait, are you saying you don't own 1, 2, 3, kick it, drop that beat like an ugly baby?
No, I can't say I own that.
Oh, that's the first game in my library. I think that's why it's called 1, 2, 3 at the start, just so it's number 1 on your list. But I've played 1 minute of that game.
And it was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a beautiful 1 minute. Yeah. There's a lot of terrible games in my library, and is there any website there which tells you how much you've played versus how much you got to go? Because that'd be more interesting. As in, you've completed this amount of this.
You're this like a slider that's kind of like this percentage throughout your library?
Yeah, because I don't know if that actually includes how much you've already played.
Because they have the API into Steam, I'm sure there's a ton of metrics you can pull out there that you really probably don't want to honestly know about yourself. I think that's part of the problem, is they expose a lot, but they don't want people to really identify how much they game, or they may think they need to change their lifestyle.
Understandably.
Anything else you've been doing that... Yes?
Yeah. I was going to say, I've also been playing Evolved. I tried that out last weekend for the first time. And...
Yes. So,
the tutorial starts you off as the monster. And that's all I managed to do in the time that I had to play it during the weekend. So, I did the whole tutorial, and I played as the monster. I ran around destroying things, and I thought, it's a cool concept. But the monster's a bit clunky and a bit dull, really. I think they did a really good job making the 4 enemies, the 4 humans,
the hunters,
being really annoying. They are like little bats that you're trying to like crush out the sky, but you're too slow. I think they did that really well. Because I was getting really frustrated, and I was like, those freaking wee guys come here, you wee dicks! And that was just the tutorial. And I was getting mad at it. So, I think they did that really well. That might just mean I'm not a fan of the hunter, though, of the monster, though. Because I couldn't get into the monster. I just wasn't a fan. It's not something that's really my kind of game style. I didn't have a chance to play anything else, because as soon as I thought, you know what, I've got 10 minutes to kill, I'm going to try one of the guys out, I decided to go the medic, I think. And it crashed. And I thought, well... the time will take me to load me back up and get back in. I might not finish the game, so GG no re. And I didn't go back in. So, bugs apparently are quite frequent from the looks of it, considering I was only in for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and it crashed.
It's still in beta. That's one of the things. They're trying to work out those last ones, so they've expanded it over more and more, because for the most part it plays very solid, and it's leaps and bounds improved from when the alpha hit.
Sure.
So it continues to improve, and so, but that is unfortunate you ran into that, because I played Evolve that weekend as well. In fact, I know a lot of people as a whole were involved with Evolve during the beta, and for the most part, those are the ones I played with. Stoner, Paz, myself. We all really enjoyed the game. I think the biggest question we've run into yet still is whether we think it's worth the retail price of $60. Although you can go find it, admittedly, on different channels for less. I know I've seen it with the base discount that you can get on Green Man Gaming for about $40-something because of the 23% off digital download coupon they provide. And so that's kind of the bigger question I've seen. But for the most part, we've all really enjoyed our experience with Evolve. Because yes, the monster and the challenges when you first play through the tutorial, which they didn't used to have, it just gives you an idea of how the monster plays, but it doesn't really give you the nuances of how you have to play it, run away, evolve, come back, and start killing people that the game truly has. And so I feel like you didn't really get the full representation, because the monster can be a blast. Even the Goliath, which is kind of the default monster you get, he initially feels a little slow and ungainly. But when you start to learn how to use them right and jump around, I mean, it's a challenge. There's some skill to it, but you can do some amazing things. And I've watched, I think I do okay as the monster, but watching Paz play it, that monster can be so mean. So mean. And yeah, gosh, I had so much fun with that. So just hopefully you'll give it another chance, but we'll see. Yeah, it's funny because in the IRC, Fork is talking about saying, sucks playing as the monster. That's mostly because she got scared and hated being chased. And the whole point of the monster is to run away and try to survive. And it's hard, too, because those of us who played a little bit, when we brought, like, Hando in and brought brought a Fork in and stuff like that, it was kind of like, it is tough being a monster when people you're playing against kind of know what they're doing. And I can't say we were playing the nicest. I think Paz was being a little nicer than me. But it's a fun game. Give it a chance. And the hunters are a lot of fun and variety too, especially if you have a team that's working well together.
I do definitely plan to give it a chance. I really want to try the team play it. I want to play it with the VTW guys as well, because I think that's going to be a different aspect completely to it. But as a monster, I found it rather clunky at the moment. I didn't like how buggy it was. That's the problem with beta. If you are a company, and at any point you publish a game early into beta or alpha, you are accepting the fact that you're going to get one benefit, which is free advertisement. People are going to go say, oh, have you tried this game? It's only here for the weekend. You got to try it. Here's a free code. That's exactly what happened through VTW. I got spammed with 3 or 4 codes for people just saying, hey, go play this. Hey, come play this. Which is cool. That's a great thing about companies. I like that. The downside is people will play it, and then they'll find your bugs, and they'll say, this game's unplayable, not playing again, done. Thankfully, I see this and I understand that, and that's not going to scare me off by having a bug. I'm not
for a single crash. Yeah, that would be pretty sad.
That's not going to stop me playing. But at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking they better fix that by launch, because I want to play this game and I want to have it.
Well, we've seen what happened to other games that at launch had buggy multiplayer. Look at the Halo Master Chief Edition, everybody. That collection is still considered almost buggy and unplayable online. As well as, gosh, what was the other one that came out online and it just was terrible? Few of them where the games themselves were solid, but because they are focused so heavily on multiplayer, the multiplayer basically came out as crap. Yeah, you got to be careful, companies. That's doing yourself wrong. So
yeah, definitely.
So unfortunate that you had that experience in Evolve. I wish you could have spent some more time on it. I know you were running around a lot, so that sucks, because we had a good bit of fun last week after the show playing some Evolve.
I do plan to get back into it preferably next open beta, because I don't want to spend the £45, the like $80 or something that costs.
There's no more open betas. That's it, because it launches next month. So.
Well, I'm not going to buy it till Christmas probably. So that's what they get for offering me such beautiful prices in the UK. Thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, I would still love to track down where exactly that comes in. How prices are so bad and so different around the world.
Taxes, regional
it's
localization.
Tariffs. Yeah, tariffs and things like that. But I would love to see like the breakout of where that money gets added on.
There's no good enough excuse. Silly. It's pathetic. It's a digital download. I'm sorry, is it shipping? Is it shipping for your digital download?
Nope.
Like, you have no excuse.
Man, the cost of those bits going through the interwebs. Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why I want to go along and say quite simply, why the hell do you guys not? Why don't I just make my own like IP in the US and just buy it across there? Like, why don't I? Honestly, why don't I make my account
VPN into the US through everything like that? Which is what I think I heard recently that the UK might have been the one that was trying to block some of like the Netflix subscription and stuff, where they're using a lot of VPNs to get to US content that is otherwise blocked due to agreements. Stuff like that. I don't know if I think it was the UK that was saying something about that, where they were trying to kill a lot of VPN stuff. just like, man, I wish the internet would stop being the way it is. If a country is so evil as things like North Korea and China and stuff like that to really censor their people to the degree where they're not allowed to see whatever content they want, that's one thing. That's that country being terrible. When it becomes trade agreements and nonsense where it's just about certain companies making more money or restricting things so that people can't ever see it, God, that hurts me. That's just so bad.
I totally agree. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not fair because it's just saying, oh, you live in this country, you have to pay more. And in a sense, I agree. If you're talking to somebody in, I don't know, somewhere in Africa where like Ethiopia wanted to buy a Steam game, you know what? In terms of where you live, it's not likely you can really afford this. So here we're bumping it down by 90%. I totally understand that. I live in Britain. It's not as if the US are worse off than us. Thank you very much. That's a bit of a silly implication.
Wait, but I thought you guys said you guys totally believe you're better off than us. So no, I think
Oh
you're
yeah, in terms of
probably
healthcare,
accurate.
totally, no doubt. Everything else, you guys.
Isn't that why the pound's worth so much more? I mean, it's got to be.
Surely Norway's the best place to live in the world, then. Anyway,
I've
so
heard
the
similar.
next, yeah, my next point is the apps I have installed on my phone. I had to find a few games. It's not focusing really at all.
No,
which
it's
is kinda
blurry
annoying.
as heck. I have no idea what you're trying to show me other than colored squares on your phone.
Yay, squares!
It must be that amazing screen on that phone, right?
Shut your face. You're just jealous because it's better than yours. So I have a few games I installed for the flights and the likes because I don't like to sit doing nothing for an hour. So I had 8-Ball Pool already installed, I mentioned before, by the company Miniclip, and that's still a lot of fun. I'm still enjoying
Bit addicted,
that.
are you?
Yeah, a little bit. So I've still been really enjoying that, as you saw me playing while you were here, actually. I've also been playing Candy Crush a little bit here and there, but not too much. Same with Peggle. It's kind of things that are passive, but I can't be bothered with, really. I did install Magic the Gathering, Magic 2015, thinking, oh man, Magic games are always really well optimized and really fun. I'm really looking forward to this. It's not well optimized and it doesn't even run. It is so laggy that it's about 1 frame per 5 seconds. I was
Ouch.
like, uninstalled. You're not getting any of my money. No, thank you. So I was really disappointed by that. I mean, come on, I've got one of the... I'm not trying to show off here, but I've got one of the best phones in the market right now. I only just got it last month. So it's one of the best out there. It's got a great processor, great graphics processing, great screen. Why would it not be able to handle this? Unless you just make it for tablets. If you just make it for tablets, why could I even get it? It should be blocked off to me, you
I disagree.
a-holes.
I think you should make everything open to everything and let people decide if they want that experience or not.
You should have it as a setting. You should be able to say, oh, I don't want game... By default, it should be turned off. I don't want games that are... are
Optimized
not
for
compatible with my
tablet.
device. They're not compatible with my device. That's not compatible. I'm sorry.
Not
it's
compatible is one
Fine.
thing. Not compatible is one thing.
It's
I
not.
say this because I have a huge issue with the way Apple does it, where they have some programs that come out just for their iPads, their big tablets, versus the phones. Well, now that I have my phablet, you know, my big phone, I feel like I can use a lot of those apps that are traditionally made for the tablet.
I feel so as well.
And I'm
but
so mad that it says, no, we're not going to let you install this because it's meant for this device. That pisses me off.
Exactly. I can totally understand that, but this game here, I'm showing it again on the video. Let's see if I can get it working.
Is that Infinity Blade?
No. This is Magic. You see how slow it is, by the way. I've tapped like 6 times there.
It's got to load the neat graphics.
Look at this. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
Look
that
at
hurts.
Scroll.
Oh, that
Scroll.
hurts.
Scroll.
Now wait. Have you gone through, because I know it's an Android phone, have you gone through and killed all of your non-essential processes?
Again, it doesn't matter. I have the best phone out there right now. What the hell does that
I
mean?
don't know. It might take a lot of resource. It might be a powerful game to do a CCG on a phone. But, I mean, because is
All right,
Hearthstone
let's see.
on the phone yet? I thought that was only tablet.
Hearthstone's not available, which is annoying because I bet it would work. Nope. Okay, there's all processes killed except for Magic. There we go. Let's do this again. Magic. Oh, it's loading. It's loading again. It was struggling there after I closed other processes. Oh. It's an asshole. It's an asshole. Terrible.
Aww.
Terrible. Uninstalling. You guys suck.
You would think that a company that has access to such a major IP like Magic the Gathering, which would be a great, time killer on a touch device because it's a card game, much more entertaining than solitaire, that they would get something like that right. That's a bit unfortunate.
That's pathetic is what that is. That really pissed me off. So, what I did install for free, thanks to people who told me, is The Walking Dead 2.
Oh yeah,
Season
the next
2
Telltale
even.
game.
So I installed it and I started playing it on that scary flight, which I eventually stopped doing because I realized I'm already scared. I don't need to be sitting in this fragile state on this plane playing The Walking Dead. So I did eventually stop. However, that being said, I did play a fair bit of it, and you're playing as the girl this time, the child. What's her name again?
Some little girl that's still alive in the zombie apocalypse. Go on.
Yeah, anyway, she is a Clementine. She's a fantastic character. Before you were playing as the guy looking after her, so you're sort of like constantly worried about her, but this time she's grown up slightly and she's sort of like she's still a kid, but she's a bit more badass. She's got a gun now. She still messes up constantly. And it's so annoying because I'm like, oh, make sure you got your gun on you. Don't leave your gun behind. Always keep your gun on you. Gun, 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 gun. Watches her put it down as I'm playing as her. I'm like, I wouldn't have done that. I would not have done that.
Well, but
Stop
you're
that.
not a young girl.
Exactly. I'm just a big girl. So pretty badass. It's a really good game. Similar graphics as previously, and it runs really smoothly on an Android phone. Really nice. The music's very atmospheric. The speech and the dialogue's interesting. Characters so far are definitely extreme as they always are. Their personalities are always extreme as they would be in this sort of disaster situation. So I'm really happy with it so far. I got so far, then the plane dipped and I stopped playing. I turned it off and just sat there panicking. Back and forth. So up until then, I really enjoyed it. I do plan to get back into it, but I didn't want to go too far because I know Miss Kitten Fears wants to watch me play it because she loved Season 1 as well. So highly recommend that as an app. Really good fun. That was definitely a big part of my geek cred was playing Walking Dead on the phone. I believe it's available for both iOS as well as Android. So do check it out for free on the Android store that I can't promise elsewhere. 1 and 2 are available. Definitely worth picking up. Highly recommend it. With that, that's most of my geek cred. I played a lot of guitar last night. I played about 3 hours of guitar, which is rare. Normally, I pick up once every other week and play a song and then I'm done. I sat and tuned again, my beautiful acoustic guitar, and I played a bunch of songs that were very nostalgic to me. So Mr. Brightside by The Killers, this is one of my best memories of my entire life, was when I was a kid. I was about 14, 15.
I was going to say, when you're like 10 and this came out, because...
No, I was like
child.
15, thank you very much, 15, 16. And me and my band, Ethan, E-T-H-O-N, we were in high school, and we were playing this gig, and what we did is a charity gig for UNICEF and for one of our friend who died's family. We're having to pay for the funeral and stuff, so we did this gig, and the whole school attended, something like 1,000 people. So I was playing lead guitar, we had a rhythm guitarist, drummer, and a singer, and one of the first songs we played, her request, the girl who dies request, was Mr. Brightside. And I gotta say, we rocked that. We freaking rocked it. And one of my best memories is we were in the local paper for it as well, by the way, which was a big thing for me at the time, being in the front page of the paper. It was a picture of our audience as well, going mental. The kids were just throwing themselves around, like having like mosh pits and stuff. Our like indie pop punk band. It was a ridiculous thing. And I remember I was playing Mr. Brightside and the solo came on, and I was playing that little solo interlude piece. It's nothing intense, nothing crazy, but it was just the music, the sounds were all perfect, the amplitude was great, the acoustics were great, the crowd was going crazy, shirts were getting thrown on the stage, and 16-year-old me was just having I had long hair and I was like head banging. It was one of the best memories of my life because I've never had that experience since, or probably will ever again. Having 1,000 people listen to me play guitar. That was absolutely amazing. So I had the experience last night of playing through a bunch of old music that I played at that gig and other gigs around at that time. And it was just nice just sitting there thinking like, oh man, I remember when the old band used to play REM all the time, and I played all REM song, and it was just great. I really enjoyed that last night. So it's always good once every like year or so I do that. I have a trip through nostalgia road. And remember all these amazing times in my life when I played those gigs. It's great fun.
Aw, look at you. Back in the day when I was playing my gigs as a band member, it was amazing, man.
It was great. So
yes,
with
back
that,
when you were 14.
that's exactly. So that's my geek cred, and I think that's just on time actually because
just on time for you to take the whole geek cred and us go into a break.
You always go after the break. That's how we do this.
Oh, I always go. Anyhow, yeah, because we don't have any news to catch up on after 2 weeks of talking to other things. No, definitely. All right, so we're going to take a break. We will come back with the emails that we have, or the one email we have so far, for the Geek Cred section, as well as what little bit I've been doing before getting in and talking about all the newsworthy things this week. So wait just a few. We're going to listen to one of our good friends of the shows, Edifice, and one of the songs I really love by them. And then we will be back with a bit more. So you're listening to Show X, and we'll be back just after this.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Versus the World Production would like to thank JitBit Software for the use of RSS Feed Creator. The show has its RSS feed created and maintained by RSS Feed Creator. With its easy-to-understand interface and ability to upload all with a simple click, you can't make it any easier. Try out all their awesome software at www.jitbit.com or see the link on our front page at vtwproductions.com.
One solitary subtle point of light. One sensory perception of this life.
Hey, this is John DiMaggio. You're listening to VTWProductions.com. So don't stop listening. Continue to listen. Why are you not listening? Wait a minute. What?
You're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. Hopefully you all enjoyed Edifice. I love those guys, and playing with a new thing where I was showing a link to where you can buy their album on Amazon while we were doing the break, so hopefully you all check them out. Their album is surprisingly inexpensive. It's less than $7 on Amazon, so easy thing to go pick up, everybody. Alright, so what little bit of geek cred do I have coming back? Well, first we're going to jump into the emails because we have one from our good friend Pause 2142, and he is referencing specifically to last week's show where he said, "Hello VTW Nation. As you may know, we got to interview Thick 44 from Battlefield Friends last show. Since then, I've got to talk to him some more, and we discussed future possibilities of having him on the show again. Although it's just talk right now, it was mentioned that we might be able to get the whole Battlefield Friends gang on the show. Very exciting, and yes, that would be epic, Pause. Would be epic. Continue to be an ambassador out there for us and for the show, Pause. Very much appreciated." Alright, what have I been doing? Well, the primary thing I was going to speak to is that I've basically the only really geeky stuff I've been up to is I've been catching up with life and trying to do all the cosplay stuff for the Fasching real quickly. As I got most of my plans settled for me going to Anime North. And so, due to some wranglings of convincing and guilting, I would say, by our friend Kopii, as well as convincing that it would be worth the effort, I think we have plans for both Lieutenant Fork and I to make a travel up north at the end of May to go visit Anime North, which is supposed to be quite the epic anime convention. So we're going to go try to check that out. Unfortunately, though, it does conflict, and I apologize, Tom Bad Guy and Kuro. It does conflict with me going to Denver Comic-Con this year. And so, you will not be getting the Show X perspective of Denver Comic-Con. I am very hopeful that we will instead get a very in-depth view from Tom Bad Guy and Tales of Relevant Thought. Because, by the way, those are the guys who are the comic book experts on the show. I'm just a general geek. And so, hopefully we'll be able to hear all the noise and beautifulness from them. They have some epic plans going, so I really look forward to that. Other than that, I need to say thank you again to whoever the anonymous person is who refuses to tell me that they did one of the best presenting things they could have done to any geek, which is they signed me up for Loot Crate, because I received another Loot Crate this month, and it was one of those things where I wasn't sure if maybe I got a single offering with whoever did it, or if I got multiple. Well, apparently I got multiple, and this month was pretty damn cool. It was all retro themed. And so, a little quick live unboxing, and then I'll be done with it. They sent out things like a little skinny tie. It's a little black tie that has a bunch of essentially little Space Invader type symbols on it that goes all the way down, which is quite nice.
I'm no fan of skinny ties, but that's cool.
I'm not either. I mean, I grew up with them, 80s boy. But at the same time, it's just a neat tie to have. So
I actually know that was an 80s thing, because that's only been really picked up here recently, and I wouldn't know it was an 80s thing, obviously.
Oh gosh, that's when I wore mine, along with my silk shirts and everything. Back when I went and watched the premiere of The Wizard from when they introduced on the show, what was that, Fred Savage or something, in The Wizard back in the late 80s, and they were introducing Super Mario Bros. 3, or it might have been very early, no, it had to have been late 80s, where I was wearing a silk shirt with a little tie in it, because I thought it was a really big deal. I was a geek. Anyhow, they also did something that I thought was epic, except that I'm not a small. But it is a Voltron shirt that they gave out. That just, this to me, this blue printed Voltron kind of thing is just insanely cool. Thought it was quite awesome. Beyond that, they had some other little 8-bit gear. They had they had a little comic book that's kind of create your own comic book thing that has open panels and little stencils for like word bubbles and things like that. So it's like draw your own comic. I'm not artistic enough, but we'll see what I come up with. They have these little figurines I haven't opened yet, but it's basically, it looks like an old Nintendo cartridge as a little figurine. And then they had little 8-bit sunglasses, so I should start sporting these on air. But these were quite cool. As well as, I'm not going to pull it out because it's buried under everything else, but a limited edition, or a kind of a specific edition Star Wars comic book that came in the loot crate. In fact, both the loot crates I have comic books in them, which I think is pretty darn cool. And some people would very much appreciate that. So it was awesome. And so thank you very much. And I'm sitting there in there seeing all these things where it's like, yes, Tom is not happy that we're not going to DCC. I'll put it use that language. People watching can see the unedited. Yes. And then, unfortunately, his loot crate, he only got 2 comics out of all of them that he got. And the first 2 I've gotten have had comics. So we'll see how it continues. So nice. Anyhow, so that's pretty much my geek cred for the week. I don't think anything else that's really worth mentioning. So beyond that, I think it's time for us to switch over and talk about things a little more newsworthy. And so with that, we will do a little bit of this, and we'll do a little bit of
Technology, news, and more. Today on the Geekoscope.
So today on the Geekoscope, we've got some catch-up to do, sir. And so
Yeah, we do.
I want to start out with some new news. I mean, there's some old ones I'm going to jump into after this, but probably the biggest one for me, and there will probably be some argument about the quality or whether this one is as big a deal or not, but it's one that I at least want to... I think it's a good one for the week, and we'll see. It's gaming related in my mind, and so we'll see how this goes. But this was an article, and this one comes from Polygon.com. But it's news that hopefully people saw everywhere, because just last week, Microsoft had their Windows 10 event. And in their Windows 10 event, they were talking about lots of different things, how Windows 10, the new OS coming out this fall, will be essentially a conglomeration where they're finally going to get it right for all the different devices. They are still trying to do kind of like what Apple has done, where they have one OS to rule them all. But admittedly, with Windows 8, they messed it up and didn't figure out that you need a different UI for every type of device that you build it for, not just the same core across the board. So this one looks like they finally figured that out. Well, along with the press event, they talked about some things about being able to do what a lot of other groups are doing, where you'll be able to stream content from your Xbox One directly to your PC and play via a controller, mind you, but on the PC. And so kind of that sharing of screens like you can do on the Steam beta, which you can do with the PlayStation 4, using the PSP and stuff like that. So it's the kind of that same live sharing that you can do from another device through different rooms. So that's kind of slick. I'm trying to think some of the other major parts of it. The new browser they had kind of talked a little more about, that's going to be built ground up, that they're incorporating Skype directly into Windows 10, all those kind of things. But the biggest thing...
That's pretty cool as well. Yeah, I've been looking forward to that.
Well, there are a lot of core upgrades to the OS that are really solid. Another big one that's going to be for gamers is the release of the next DirectX. Because what is it? Are we up to right now? We're on 11 right now, so this will be DirectX 12 when it comes out, is coming with the OS. And so unfortunately, that's going to be, I think, the only way you can get it. I don't know if it's going to be backwards compatible to 8, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be backwards compatible to 7. But this is where the last piece of news comes in that I think is pretty exciting. From everyone I've talked to, and you've seen the preview yourself, Ken, right? You downloaded and played with it a little bit.
I played with one of the earlier versions. I don't know if there's been more released since.
Yeah, they keep updating it. They continuously update, and they did a new one right after this one, because they're also incorporating Cortana directly into the OS. So much how you like to show off talking to your little Android phone by saying "Go Google" or "Hello Google" or whatever it is, you'll be able to do similar with Cortana through your OS. And so if you have a microphone enabled, you'll be able to just talk to your OS and say, "Hey, search for this, do me this, whatever." And she's billed as being a, all-in-one kind of help you out. Essentially, but a digital assistant for anyone. Well, the big announcement for people that are like, oh, but it's not going to have this backwards compatibility I want. Well, they said that for the first year of the release of Windows 10, it's going to be a free upgrade for anybody that has Windows 7 or 8.
That's pretty crazy that includes 7. 8, yes. I would understand. That's kind of okay, fair enough. Because
they're making up.
One.
Yeah, well, they're making up for 8, saying like, sorry about that. Yeah, we know the 8 sucks. And so what a great way to reach out. And it's one of those things that jokingly in the article they talk about how it's going to be, what better way to get an attachment to your new OS than to make it free for everyone that has your current supported OSs. And so I'm very much looking forward to this, because this means everyone now, if you've got a legal copy of Windows, should be able to jump right in. And so we'll see. And Paz is telling us that DirectX 12 should be backwards to 8.1, but not 7. And still, at least half my devices are 7. I only have 8 on my laptop and my media PC. And so, but now they can all be 10. And so I thought that was kind of exciting. And hopefully you guys will agree, because if you are a gamer, you're likely in Windows. And since they no longer support XP or Vista or any of those, and 7 will go away eventually, getting a free upgrade to 10 sounds epic. And now the key there is you only have a year from launch. But still, that's quite some time, and any devices you currently have will work. And the better thing about that is for people that were unsure about whether they would be able to upgrade as you get to that cusp between the release of 10, and you know it's on the horizon about to come out in a month, but you want to buy a computer now, go ahead. You get a free upgrade. No problem. So that, I think, was one of the better decisions I've heard from Microsoft in quite some time.
No, I totally agree. That's kind of an amazing thing they're doing that. I'm sorry to say it, but that's kind of non-Microsoft decision to do, isn't it? That's not what their old playstyle was. It seems like they've actually looked around the current technology and said, you know what, we're kind of pushing this thing out pretty fast. We removed updates for 7 and 8 pretty fast as well. We should give them something back, and they did. They seem to actually be saying, hey, thank you for putting money into what we've done recently. Here, free upgrade. That's pretty awesome. So that makes me want to go out and buy 8 now as well. That's what that does.
It makes it so you feel like any investment in one of their OSs today isn't a bad investment. It's okay, this is future-proofing because I know I'm going to get the next one. I don't got to worry about it. And so it's even better for any businesses or companies that are worried about, upgrading from their old XPs and stuff like that. And the cost of it, at least you have this path to go to 10. And from what I've seen, 10 is the proper, it's like I always say, they let the OS cook long enough and it's now in a good state. They took all the good things from 7, the couple of good things from 8, most of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and put it all together into something that looks like a solid OS, and people that are used to having a desktop and a taskbar and stuff like that are still feel comfortable with their experience. So I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed, I am too, actually, so that sounds interesting. And what I saw looked normal. It didn't seem too crazy, let's change it to touch interface or anything like that, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, let's see. I've got a bunch of old articles, and I'm looking at a bunch of new ones just now as well, so I'm going to click on one of the old ones, try and get through them. One of the big ones I really wanted to touch on last week, actually, or 2 weeks ago. Blizzard are considering trade between gold and game time in World of Warcraft. So recently, and this is a bit more news I'll touch on later probably, but ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, has announced themselves as being going free to play.
Wait, have they actually announced it yet, or is it still
announced
rumor?
They've announced it. It's a thing. So ESO is finally going free to play, which everybody expected from day one once we saw the reviews. And I'm glad. I'm gonna pick up
once
now.
we played it.
Play it.
Yeah, once we played it, the beta or anything, we're like, this could not sustain a regular model.
Oh, I played it for half an hour, and I thought, this is Skyrim with less features. What is the point?
No, this is Morrowind with less features.
Yeah. So this is actually doing something important. So now that ESO is going free to play, World of Warcraft is trying to find an in-between. They don't want to give up their subscription because they're making money. Why would you give up something that's still making millions a month? And they are. They're making about 8 million. Even if they have just 1 million player base, they'll still make $8 million a month. Why would you give that up if it works? And I do not think they're wrong to ever try and not give it up. They're completely right as a company. As a business, that makes perfect sense. It's a brilliant model for them. Anyway, the developers at Blizzard are currently weighing the possibilities of allowing players to purchase game time tokens for the purpose of trading them with others for gold in World of Warcraft. So somebody has to buy them in the first place. It's not just it's already there. Somebody has to buy it, so they're still making the money regardless. Difference is, somebody can go buy 10 of them, then sell them all for, I don't know, 10,000 gold each, and make a bomb of money in the game. And that's interesting in terms of economics, and I'm sure people will find that interesting in itself, as they have with EVE. But in terms of actual gameplay, and this actually assisting people who, for example, maybe have a lot of free time, maybe they're out of work, you can earn your own game time. That's brilliant. Fantastic. That's a really interesting method. Thank you for that, Blizzard. That's actually a really smart move. Because you're still making the money, and people who can't afford, who are currently unemployed or disabled or don't have much money, they can just sit down and play the game and earn it themselves. And that's brilliant. Our current thought on this is that it would give players a way to use their surplus gold to cover some of their subscription cost, while giving players who might have less playtime an option for acquiring gold from other players through a legit and secure system, the blog reads. A few other online games offer a similar option, and players have suggested that they'd be interested in seeing something along those lines in WoW. Consideration of this merger between the two economies of WoW was announced via blog update, which the developer looks forward to their plans for the MMO in 2014. They invite players to leave feedback on other ideas, which can be viewed on our community blog post. So that's from IGN, thanks to them as usual for all the articles that I steal from them. So that's definitely interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing if that works out or not. I want to see how that affects players and their how much money they're making, their income, and the total player number base, the number of players in their player base. You know, if it goes up or if it goes down, that'd be very interesting to see. That could be a new middle ground, especially for Blizzard, because it's funny to use this term, but they are the titan. They are the titan of MMOs.
That's funny.
They're the flagship of all others, and they set the precedent. They said this is how MMOs are done properly. The very first go, all those years ago, a decade ago now, they said this is how MMOs are done, and they led that forward, and then inevitably they started to fail. Inevitably, because you can't have the same game win that for that long forever. It has to eventually be taken over or by others, or just the whole entire genre fail, and that's kind of what both of which happened. It both failed, and the genre kind of fell down a little bit. Now it's moved into free to play, which is not exactly a money-making market now, is it? It paved the way for other models and other different understandings of the genre, including. I would say esports came from it as well. I think arenas and PvP moved into a sort of Dota League of Legends thing, which came from Warcraft 3 as well. That whole market came together and made something newer and beautiful to make up for the fact that the market was missing out on MMOs at that point. So, the fact that they're actually doing this, so you can buy your own game time, is quite amazing, and I look forward to seeing what happens with that. But honestly, I know I would continue paying for it, because like hell am I going to spend my time grinding in game when I already grind at work every day? You know, if you're already grinding the money, what's the difference?
That's the model of people that are buying game time. It's either way, it's your time is worth money, and so what's worth more? The time that you spend making the money, or the time that you want to, enjoy a game that you're playing your free time, and what costs you more to do or not do. And that's why the model works. Now, it'll be interesting to see how it all fits together, because notoriously they just go to try to find ways to, cost money all the time. And so we'll see. It'll be I'll be very curious to see what comes up out of both that, the announcement that WoW is doing their they're going to give a gift to statue to anyone that's maintained an account since the beginning. Some epic, massive statue they're going to send people, because it honestly can't be too many people that get that. They've had to have been around since the first year and maintain an active account the entire time. As well as they're looking at ways that they can tie in the free-to-play first 20 levels to a current existing account, so people don't have to make additional, BS accounts over and over again to keep playing that first 20 levels that you can get for a free account, so that you can actually merge it with an account you already pay for, as well as you can get in there and still join guild chat and be invited into a guild, things like that, with a free account. So I'll be curious to see how they make it all work. And I will never play the game again.
I probably will, and so will you, and don't lie.
No, I may play a little bit, yes, so we'll see, but WoW is dead to me again.
We'll see.
I came on, I gave it a solid month, and just, I found myself, I could count that I played it maybe 7 hours in that month of time I played.
And you
totally
will give it
not worth it. Not worth it. The game is not fun for me.
There is
for me.
Gaping hole in our souls.
Not mine.
That cannot be filled by WoW, but we will always go back to try and fill it.
No, I don't have a gaping hole in my soul. There's too many good games to play that I never have enough soul to go around. So I disagree. Anyhow.
Okay.
And I do have an article along those lines. Although I need to break things up real quick just to mention something and throw a link out so people can see it. And I'll have to find the actual link, but I wanted to mention that it was something I forgot about in my geek cred, or in my non-geek cred section, in my regular, in my dysfunctional deviation section, which is one thing I also did, is I went to a Denver Nuggets game, and on Friday, and normally I don't talk sports a whole lot, but I needed to bring this one up, because I was there to support my local dance group. And so the school I go to with Breakademics is their dance team, part of the School of Breaking. And so, found the link just in time so I can throw it in there. So I wanted to share with everyone a video that I have that I took while at the game, and there's a lot of them being put out there now, but throw this into the links for the Stoner to share, our lovely IRC rep, as well as throw into the show notes. So when you guys get a chance after our show, please go check out the link and just check out what I believe is an amazing dance crew filled with people of all ages. Really fun group, and just a little video I captured that. Anyhow, back to the news and back on topic. Along those lines, and there's just a quick note based on what you were saying. Let's see, I gotta find it through all the stuff that's in here again. Where'd it go? But talking about MMOs, it's one of those things where it's kids, please remember, MMO and game safely. So using my favorite aggregate, News 360, because it's the one I have on my phone, and it's really easy for me to go through a lot of different articles that I've got cold for myself. This one comes from, let's see, what's the actual site? It's hiding behind my News 360. Let me kill that out. So coming from metro.co.uk. It says, man dies after 3-day computer gaming binge.
I saw this. It's so
this was
ridiculous.
From earlier in the month. And go figure, this happened in Southeast Asia, like it tends to happen. It says, the 32-year-old obsessed gamer known only as Hashia, was found slumped in an internet cafe chair after spending 72 hours in front of the screen in Taiwan. Staff initially thought he was sleeping, but he was rushed to the hospital after they discovered he wasn't breathing. Shortly after, he was pronounced dead. It was confirmed that he died from heart failure brought on by the intense period of gaming. And it doesn't say specifically, it just kind of says this. He was reportedly playing combat games. That doesn't say anything. But, so yeah, just one of those things, kids. Just like anything, it's one of the things we talk about if you work in an office and you have a day, desk job, stuff like that. Hey, every once in a while, get up, stretch, walk around. I don't know, eat some food, drink some things, use the restroom, shower. That's always nice. Just like the proper etiquette of anything. It is okay to move. Don't let yourself end up like this, because that is sad in ways I just can't quite comprehend. Yeah, game properly, kids.
Yeah, the thing is, again, it's when they find these stories of people who play FPSs then go out and kill people, right? First-person shooters, then they go kill people in their school or whatever. Just
That's
because
not
you
how
play
they do it.
FPS,
Those
I
are
would
nothing
argue.
related.
I would
No
argue
relation.
that because you're playing FPSs and then you will kill people, it's not because of FPSs. 'Cause if you look at the stats, 99.999 so on percent, until maybe 5 people out of the hundreds of millions of people who've played FPSs, maybe 5 people have gone and done it after playing FPSs, right?
Here's the better discussion about that. Oh my god, FPSs, because, people weren't killing each other before those came out.
That's true as well. But
It's not like we didn't have a few millennia of people killing each other for other reasons, like we love to ping on. But yeah. So well, my concern with this one is it's because we're supportive of people gaming and really enjoying it, right? This is,
of course,
don't get so focused on a game that you get lost in the, reality. You get lost from what's real. It's just like those sad cases of people who didn't take care of kids and stuff like that because they were too busy gaming. And so you've got to balance it out, guys. We love it. We love having it as a hobby, but at the same time, you still need to get out to the real world, talk to people, associate with others, do things outside of the house. It's great to be digital. It's great to be enabled so that you can look and talk to people all over the world, but we still live in a real world. And so if it's a nice day out, go for a walk, hit the park, go do something outside. Even if you're as pale as our friend Kopii or Lieutenant Fork and they may blister and burn in the sun, it's still something where at least get outside and do something. It's okay, but you gotta break away from games on occasion. I mean, this is where I spend the majority of my time, but you hear me all the time. I'm out dancing, I'm going to do work, I do all these other things. This is just one of my major hobbies. So that's my...
And that's the thing, if you look at any hobby, be it hunting, be it reading, be it fishing, be it anything out there, watching TV, there are going to be people who die doing that because people die. That's what happens. And people die because they're stupid or because they're obsessed, because they have mental problems. This guy clearly had a problem. If you play or you read or you watch TV for 3 days straight, it's not going to be good for you no matter what your hobby is. I don't think video games are related whatsoever, and I think it's just it happened to be the thing he was interested in.
It's a touch point. But really the challenge and what people don't realize is if you do any activity like this too long, sitting too long without getting up and moving, it can actually be very negative on the body. It has nothing to do with gaming, just sitting in general. Where our bodies aren't built like that physically. And so you can develop things like blood clots and stuff like that And when you then move wrong or get up too suddenly or anything like that, it can break loose some bit of, what's going on in your blood that could actually run up to your brain, give you an aneurysm, can cause heart problems, all those different things. It can adjust the way your blood pressure in the body is. Just physically be smart and always break up your activities. So anyhow, enough of that rant. I have another one to you, sir, just real quick. I'm being mean here and just like stealing all the articles. But I thought of this one for you. Well, which one? Okay, now I'll get to that one later. This one, it's a newer article. I'm going to bounce around a few times here. Oh gosh, there's some really good ones in here. Okay, this one is another article that I got from News360. This came from GameSpot. But they finally put out, and so I was quite excited for this, and for all the friends I know that have equally been looking forward to some real solid news on it. Star Citizen release schedule, dates, FPS mode, and story campaign. So what this is is that basically Chris Roberts has announced that he has a schedule for when most all of the games for Star Citizen, all the different modes and pieces will come out. And so as he goes forward, and it's just a real quick note, but it says the schedule basically is listed as in spring of 2015, so now-ish, as we're moving into it, it says beta release of the FPS mode in Star Citizen, as well as the planet-side/social aspect of the game will go into beta. In the summer of this year, we're looking at a full upgrade of the Arena Commander piece that's out today. They just did a 1.1 update recently, or 1.01 or such, that added and fixed some bugs, but they're going to do an overhaul where they're going to really improve the Arena Commander flight part of the game. Then they're talking about fall of this year, so fall of 2015, one of the parts that I've been really looking forward to, which is the first episode of Squadron 42 released. And for those who don't remember, Squadron 42 is the single-player campaign of the whole Star Citizen world. So much like the old Wing Commanders and things like that. For the joystick jockeys and space nuts like me, that's what I've been looking forward to most.
That's cool.
And then at the end of this year, a Persistent Universe Alpha for everybody who's backed the game. And then they're looking at the commercial launch of Star Citizen in 2016. So sometime next year, we should see the full official launch. But there you go. For everyone who's backed, who's excited, who's really looking to get their space on, this is a year where we should really start seeing the fruition of all that money and backing that we've put into Chris Roberts' effort. Yes, Ken?
There's one other issue I forgot to mention about these kind of things where you back them early, crowdsource sort of things. There's so much time before release. I hate that. Like, you can put forward your money and then not see the return for 2 to 3 years. That's insane.
That can happen.
Like, I'm looking forward to Star Citizen as much as anybody else, but man, I've heard so much about it and still not played it. It annoys me. I'm just like, come on, I want to play it already. I want to play the finished thing. Just develop it already. Even if they were actually making it, they wouldn't have released much about it as of yet. Maybe a trailer, but that's it. Because I don't know about you, but I get weekly emails saying, hey, this game's coming eventually. Hey. I'm like, I want to play. I know it's coming. Come on, just give it to me. That's the biggest. That's one. I'd say that's probably the worst thing about crowdsourcing is the fact that you never actually get to play it for so long. It doesn't exist yet. That's just what happens.
Yes, it's a challenge because the excitement of wanting these new games and IPs to come out, but at the same time, the reality that we kind of gotta wait until they're actually done. We give them money to start building it, then we have to wait for them to build it. All right, sir, I will give you an opportunity to jump in and pull another article since I have so many I can keep doing.
Sure thing, sir. Sure thing. I have quite a few here as well, actually. Let's see. I've got a couple of WoW ones I'd like to jump on again.
Oh, really? Aren't we done with that thing?
Never, ever. I was going to do that. Anyway, so, World of Warcraft gifts, the owner of World of Warcraft, Blizzard, have now gifted WoW veterans with their own orc statue. So Blizzard Entertainment is sending out orc statues. Did you?
I mentioned the thing for people that have had continuous accounts, right?
Yeah, you did. I didn't think you mentioned what it was. I thought you just said
oh, fine. Say what it is. Go.
I wanted to go into detail. It's sending out orc statues as thank you gifts to World of Warcraft players that have had an account for 10 years. So I think that might be me, but I don't know if they have my address.
Have you had a continuous account for all 10 years?
I've had it. Whether it's active or not, it's a different matter. Though.
Well, I thought it was for active, but you let me know. Because I'm pretty sure I saw some. Yes, to be eligible for the gift, Players must have created an account within 60 days of the original game release in America or Europe and maintain their subscription for all 10 years.
That's mental. That
So
must be
the
like 1%
10
of players.
people of players that are out there that aren't part of
Yeah.
Blizzard that will get these statues, that'll be pretty epic.
So even if you worked with game cards, maybe you had a 2-hour gap where you didn't do it, you'd be ineligible for this. That's ridiculous.
That's right. No, that's what I thought. It was like, this is actually one of the easiest of things. It sounds like they're doing an amazing thing to support fans forever, but I don't even think I was in on time because I started the first full year it was out, but I think we missed it by like 2 or 3 months from launch. You know,
I was with the,
depending on when it
start, but I can't remember exactly how early.
Well, that's the thing, because I don't think, depending on when it came out of beta into open, I don't remember when we transitioned, but likelihood that yes, we missed that. So, meh.
I might go find. I'm going to try and see if I can find out while doing this article. We'll see. I'll try and sign in. But yeah, last week Battle.net forum user Smitty posted pictures of the statue he received in the forums, revealing that the gift is a scaled-down replica of the giant orc statue that rests in front of the Blizzard Entertainment campus. The description thanking veteran players on the base of the gift reads, "The orc statue is a constant presence in our life as Blizzard Entertainment. It's where we meet to talk, to eat, to celebrate. As we celebrate 10 years of World of Warcraft, we present you this token of appreciation to you, stalwart adventurer. Thank you for being a constant presence in our lives as we adventure together." And I think I had the actual number in one of these articles. It's not this one. But how much is it in the US per month for WoW? Is it $15 or something? $10?
Well, if you buy it per month, it's about $12 a month if you buy it by the 6-month subscriptions. And so you figure, basically $12 a month times 12 months times 10 years.
11 now. So that is, let's see, Google, $1,584 you're spending on that statue, FYI. So even in
it's actually not bad for
pounds-
10 or 11 years of game.
No, that's true, but that's a good 800, 900 pound you've spent on a statue, effectively, and of course all those thousands of hours of fun times. But still, the fact that you've given them so much money and you only get an orc statue is a little bit. You kind of just reminds you of the bit of a sting
Again,
of how much
if
you
they
spent.
would have made it so that subscriptions went down in or cost per month the longer you're with the game, I may just have maintained an account because it got cheap enough to the point not to worry. That's just me.
Yeah,
actually, I
agree.
need to check to see if my brother-in-law got one because he's one of the most avid players I know, but I don't remember when he got started. So I'm pretty sure he probably started after, but he's also the person I know personally that has the most played hours in the game. And so but I don't know. I don't think he was around long enough to get the statue. Otherwise, that would have been pretty epic.
Quite simply, if WoW was free to play, I'd hop on occasionally. The fact that it's worth like £10 a month is not worth my time.
Well, that's the thing, right? You
that's
don't want to
basically it, right?
maintain an account just for the possibility that you might play it a little bit every once in a while.
I was hoping to see. I went onto the EU account thing. I'm trying to see if it says anywhere. No, it doesn't say how long I've had my account for. I wish it did. I can check my order history. Maybe if I check in there, I can see the first time I ever bought anything. No, the earliest thing for me was in 2010 that I can see here, which is silly because I knew I had it in 2004. So I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? So yeah, Blizzard did that, and that's pretty cool. So good on them, because it's always good to help out people. And there might be actually a free veteran edition coming out soon. We will see, but that's pretty cool. Other than that, WoW, World of Warcraft player reaches level 100 with 100 characters.
Actually, that could actually. 100 characters would not be my brother-in-law, but almost.
Yeah. I think everybody's had about that many characters, but not that many max levels.
Well, I said because all the characters he has are max level, but I think he only has like 16 Alliance and 16 Horde, but I'm not sure. But they're all max level, so yeah.
Yeah. WoW player Watola has reached the max level of 100 on 100 different characters. In a lengthy blog post on the Battle.net forums, Watola explains that he started the project near the end of Mists of Pandaria, a WoW expansion released in September 2012. At the time of starting MOP, I had already leveled around 20 characters to max levels, so another 80 didn't seem that extreme, he wrote. The actual playtime required to achieve this is not as massive as it may first seem. Watola has had to use two accounts because... Yeah, Watola had to use two accounts because a single account is limited to 50 characters. Doing this, he was able to level 2 characters at once, boosting his progress with recruit a friend bonuses. Getting him to level 85 took 5 to 8 hours depending on the class. That's not bad at all. After that point, he paired the alternate characters with a max level hunter to farm difficult enemies and move on to tougher dungeons. So in total, I'm guessing that's like what, 11 hours, maybe 10 hours it took him to get to level 100 with each character. 10 hours times 10, that's 100 hours, that's a couple weeks, non-stop. That's a few months. That's not bad.
Well, that's the thing. Nowadays, you can just power level characters anymore,
Yeah.
so what's it really matter? It's,
I love that there's a featured comment at the bottom, and in quotes it says, like, inside the comment itself there's quotes saying, waste of time, wasted life, virgin, no accomplishments in life, lives in mum's basement, etc. Thrown all about in the dog pile mentality. How original. You people have proof of all of that? Or is it just easier to regurgitate the same cliched stereotypes you see people doing something that involves a lot of time in video games? How do you know this guy's life hasn't been devoted to saving lives, like helping people get off drugs? You know nothing about this person other than apparently he plays WoW a lot. When you parrot the same BS about someone that plays some game a lot, while actually knowing nothing about the person, it's you that looks pathetic, and it's you who perpetuates those negative stereotypes that are applied to all gamers. You're so much better, let's see how your own life stacks up. Boom! Says
Nice.
Cupelix2 on IGN's comments. That's actually a featured comment, so I think IGN recognized that themselves as being like, yep, top, stickied.
well,
That's
that,
pretty
or
cool.
just other people that are part of it, you start saying, come on, guys. Because admittedly, that is the, over-the-top ridiculous stereotypes that we get for being avid gamers. Because if I added up all the hours I've played in all the games I play, then yeah, I apparently need to get a life and do other things. So,
If I just tell people my WoW hours alone, which by the way stacked up to over a year in total, which I always say, to be fair, I used to just sit logged in, like when I was playing like guitar, or I was hanging out with friends. I wouldn't necessarily be playing, but I'd maybe just jump on the auction house every 5 minutes or something. So quite a lot of those hours are just me just being nearby the computer, which is still pretty bad if you think about it. But I understand that I spent a long time in WoW alone, and I actually accept that because it forged me into who I am, and I quite like myself. So if anybody has a problem with that, good for them. I don't particularly care about what other people think about whether I play too many video games or not, because I've enjoyed my life.
yeah, well, that's the thing.
I think it's the same with most of us geeks.
Well, and most things don't have the means to really let us focus on how much we've spent on everything we've done, so yeah. But, who cares? We're gamers. We love it. Admittedly, I don't love WoW, but a lot of people do, so understandable. Alright, I'm going to usurp control from you again, yes, sir. And I have 2 articles I want to bring up that I thought you would appreciate. So the first one, it comes from News 360 yet again. This is a bit older, but it was one that I thought was really epic, and I think a lot of people have already seen it, but I wanted to highlight it here. What this is one about some art, some art that a gentleman made. It says, these realistic Dragon Ball villain illustrations look scarier than the original versions. And so what this is, and I'll put it on the front on the actual video stream so you guys can follow along. But essentially, this artist went out and made what he considered realistic versions of each or several of the characters in the Dragon Ball series. So the first one I'll show is that of Frieza. And it's really quite a nice shot. It's great because each of these are done almost like movie posters. And I don't know if you saw the link, Ken, or if you're following along with the link that Stoner posted.
I glanced it, and I glanced it and realized I'd actually seen these before.
Well, that's what I thought. I figured you would. I figured you would have
Yeah.
because you love yourself some Dragon Ball Z. And so, but the Frieza one looks properly creepy. And I like it because he looks meaner in the artwork here than in the show by any means, where in that one he's just looks kind of cheesy and little. This one he looks truly like...
I'd say that's the most impressive one of them all as well, if I remember correctly.
That one really was good. Well, like Majin Buu was interesting, kind of crazy looking. I've seen additional ones that have been done after this that were kind of in the same vein. And I saw a Majin Buu that looked really scary. But it was a different artist who had done it. What other ones? Piccolo, because Piccolo would always look creepy as big green alien guy. Mercenary Tao, just Asian dude. Perfect Cell, interesting. And I've also seen some really good other renditions of Cell. Perfect Cell that are pretty neat looking. This one I like because it just, he's basically an android, which is the one thing I like. I think they capture it in the eyes, which is really cool about that one. Dr. Garo, the android version. That one I think looks pretty cool. It's funny because Ginyu from the Ginyu Force always bothered me as a character. And so I'm not sure if I don't know. just the way the whole Ginyu Force went around, all ridiculously cheesy with their poses and over-the-top speech.
And their names as well. I hated it, like salt and pepper. It's just like,
Well, because
the rest of them are Japanese names for vegetables and not.
Yeah,
like,
they're all vegetables
English,
other than So it's just like, so bad. But so I liked those, and I thought it was really neat just to see some renders out there. And there's a lot of stuff on like DeviantArt and things of some other examples that are really, really cool. So that was a quick one. The other one I wanted to bring up, because it was also Dragon Ball related, and I don't know if you've seen this one, but I thought both you and Diggy might appreciate it.
Is it the DLC one?
No. And so this one, also from News 360, but this is just kind of a random thing I came across that I thought you would appreciate as a fan, and because I know you guys like to collect things. So this one comes up from Anime News Network, and it says, Mexican apparel company offers sweet Dragon Ball Z sneakers. And so what it is a Mexican clothing company, Heredia Clothing, has been promoting their lineup of Dragon Ball Z sneakers for a few months now, but fans heading to Expo TNT on next weekend, I guess, January 31st through February 1st in Guadalajara can also get their kicks autographed by the original Mexican voice actors for Goku and Vegeta. And so it's pretty cool, but I don't know if you've seen these sneakers or not.
I haven't actually, but they're interesting.
They basically kind of look like they're out of the show, almost like something that Goku is wearing, or the Capsule Corps and all that and stuff. So it looks like things straight out of the show, which is kind of cool. And I thought that would be something that if they, like a box of that showed up on your front door, as much as you're making faces now, I bet you would squee.
I'd be pretty happy, but at the same time, I wouldn't go out and buy them. I think it's fair to say. I wouldn't go out and spend my money on something like that, especially considering I bet the price is quite high. But it is pretty freaking cool, I would admit, yes. That's pretty cool.
So those are two I wanted to bring up because I thought you'd appreciate some Dragon Ball Z news. All right, sir, back to you.
I appreciate it.
Like to jump in with.
I always enjoy DBC. All right. So you mentioned Cortana earlier, so I want to jump on this one here. So Cortana is a VI, I suppose, which has been created by Microsoft. From Halo to phone to PC, Cortana is Windows Digital Assistant. Windows Phone Digital Assistant and Halo Series AI Cortana will be offering to help Windows 10 PC near you. And like I said, you mentioned this in passing earlier, but I kind of want to extend again. During today's Windows 10 event in Redmond, Washington, Microsoft showed off some of Cortana's functionality in her new Windows 10 home. Already part of Windows Phone, Cortana gives reminders, sets appointments, and provides other services similar to Apple's Siri and Google Now, and now comes in 7 different languages. Cortana also comes with something dubbed her Notebook, which is where you can store personal information about yourself that Cortana will use to predict your needs. All the information in the notebook can be tailored for a better personalized experience or for more privacy. On PCs with Windows 10 installed, Cortana isn't purely a port of the phone experience with PC-oriented features included as well. You can search local hard drive and OneDrive for Business to find files through natural queries. Cortana also filters search results and then organizes them based on what she thinks is the most relevant to what you'd want. For example, typing in Skype offers up the modern interface app to launch, the ability to install it from the store, and then some web-based results. That makes sense. Microsoft executive Joe Belfiore then dictated an email to Cortana on an all-in-one PC. This capability will roll out to insiders over the next couple of months and will spread across the globe more rapidly the sooner Windows 10 gets to launch. So that's cool. I've always liked the idea of Cortana and this kind of digital assistant, so the more we push these kind of things, I want them to know me. I don't need the companies to know me, but I want my AI to know me enough so that when I ask things, or even when I don't, it knows what I'm after. If I go up to it at 12:53 and it knows I've got nothing in the fridge, it recommends what's going to open up soon nearby in the shops, or what's on sale, what's discounted in the shops nearby. If it knows what kind of food I want and it says I've already ordered your shopping, because I know you set the preference. Or something like that. I love that idea, and I'm all for that kind of thing. So come on, ye future, come on, I am for you. All right. Are you a big fan of that kind of thing? Do you think you'd enjoy an AI who was personal but nobody got to see the data?
So the key about it's all about how well it works, right? Because I've tried to use Siri to some degree. Both of us have kind of fought with the whole, like, how well Google does it versus Apple does it today. Neither of us have had experience with Cortana, with Windows Phone, so we don't know how well it does. But the idea of truly being able to have an interface where you can just talk naturally to the device and have it understand what you're doing and provide information you need sounds nice and epic. And in a way, I'd love it if it was that seamless, almost like it's always listening, but at the same time, it's not recording and passing it on to others kind of information. That'd be kind of fun, because if I could just sit down on my computer and be like, all right, load evolve, and have it just bring it up, that would be pretty tight.
Awesome.
And I know that I can already do that. That's the thing, right? If I were to take the time to customize my system myself, use something like Dragon Natural Speaking, set up a bunch of links based on phrases I say and have it always listening, I could do that today and have it work pretty darn good. But to have it do it more intelligently, where I don't have to create those links, where I don't have to go in and actually kind of set up all the relationships, where I can just start using it, that's where it would be really ingenious. And like you said, the big challenge there is doing it in a way that it doesn't also have so much information about you that it's a big security risk. Because already, if somebody got a hold of my phone, it's like,
that's the thing. The future's gonna contain a lot of information that's on the net. It already does. It's getting to the point where our systems are getting overloaded with information about us. There's too much, and we don't actually know what to do with it yet. That's the whole big data thing going on in business just now. But I like the idea of having that information. I want them to have as much information as they could possibly get about me. I want it to be accurate. I want it to work well. However, I also want it to actually be privacy safe. I want to send as much as I want to the companies, or as much as I only what I have to versus what I need versus what they want, you know. So say they want my name, they need my email address, they need my this and that, but they don't need to know my favorite taste, they don't need to know what I ordered from Amazon, they don't need to know this or that. That sounds better to me because I can customize that. I prefer the idea versus they get everything. I want a customizational experience. But it depends on the system and stuff. It depends how well it goes. But you're right. I want it to be completely and utterly functional with an intellectual setup from the start. I don't want it to be. I just sit down and spend 3 hours when I get it to make it work per device. I want it to learn from my needs. Like maybe if it does it wrong, I can correct it occasionally. That'd be okay. Maybe an ongoing kind of system. But I wouldn't want it to be in the kind where it's just like I have to fix it all, and then when it's messed up, I need to fix it as well. I want it to all be working from the start. And I think that's a fair ask.
Well, that's what's going to make it actually, accepted by the general populace. Because we're geek enough that we could really, if we wanted it, I mean, it's already people that make macros, people that do other things on their computer, make it easier to do quick things, shortcuts, stuff like that. But it takes effort. And so if you do it yourself and you're at that level, you could already do the voice thing. But the general population, people who are going to be around the board on it, can't. Or won't want to or have the patience.
Oh, I don't say everything I do in the computer is quick. Like the few things I have scripted are going to be very small. For example, things for the show, and that makes sense because I scripted, you scripted, and Gnome scripted because that's what we use frequently, right? And that makes sense. But most of my day-to-day life, I don't need to script many things. However, my phone, I use my phone all the time with the speech. I often tell it to play music for me, and I often make it set reminders or set alarms. I'd say daily. I'd say I use it, and it works really well. It turns out, by the way. There was an error. So, a quick side note here. Personal problem with my phone. I went to Vodafone trying to get it fixed, my provider for my phone, and they didn't know what was wrong with it. I went to 2 different stores and they couldn't fix it. I went home, searched online, and fixed the problem. Basically, my microphone wasn't working, and there was my speaker for phone calls, and therefore my Google OK in reverse.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it because then I'll activate. That was blocking off, so it was actually getting worse and worse, and there was a software error, but I managed to fix it, and now it's extremely sensitive, and now if I say it in any tone of voice, any shouting, screaming, very quiet, different accents, it works perfectly fine, and I can't believe how amazing it is. So I use it a lot. So if there's something better, like Siri, say it's better than Google, happily, no problem, I'll switch over in a second. But right now, Google works so beautifully for me, and I wanted to advance, and I wanted to take more information. I wanted to do more.
Like everything, I want it to be competition. I want them all to advance. The better we have people showing that it can be done better in different ways here or there, the better for all of us as consumers because we now have better products. I'm all about that. So check it out. I mean, please keep innovating, keep making the toys that I want to play with. So we'll see. And this being tied into Windows 10 from the get-go is a big push forward because much like how you have Google doing, the whole OK Google piece, every one of those phones that have an Android OS have that ability. All the new ones coming out can all do it. And so once you make it a baseline into a piece of software into your OS, more people are going to use it because it's there. And so just, that's the thing. All right, so I have a question as to whether I brought this article up or not, and it's one that may run past our time or right up to the end of the show here. But did I bring up the one about playing with my son, the experiment in forced nostalgia? Have I done that one before?
No, is this about making a kid? Maybe actually, I seem to recognize it, but I think I might have just seen it outside the show.
Well, I was trying to decide if this is something we talked about ourselves, like when I was with you, or if this is something we actually like.
Yeah, it might have been. I'd say touch. The IRC will tell us. They're
okay. So IRC, please tell us. I'll start talking about it. If I've talked about it before, we'll just end it early and cut it. I mean, I don't have much time to get into details of it. I just thought this was neat because it's kind of a social experiment, something I've always wondered about with our experience growing up with gaming. You always talk to people about where they started with gaming and where they are today and kind of their opinions on things. We all had somewhat different experiences. And so what this was an experience in forced nostalgia and questioning parenting, or questionable parenting. So the guy basically said, I got a great dirty trick you can play on a 3-year-old kid whenever you're around and talk wrong. So now it's like the first day of school and he raises his hands. May I Mambo Dogface to the banana patch?
Because no, you don't talk to me about this. This is something else I was thinking
Well,
of.
no, that was just the first quote of it. And so saying that, this is something that you could do that would mess with a kid, essentially.
To get your kid taken off you, maybe?
No, but the whole idea of it being that with the idea of, kids are very impressionable, and so you can kind of teach them anything. You don't have to put them through the same experiences that other kids are having today. So what he did is he thought with that ability to teach kids, says, I'm not sure it's a great idea, but he said, I was wondering about, he's wondering why more parents don't play experiments on their kids as they teach them and bring them up. That's a perfect opportunity to do so. But he said that his son was born in 2004. I knew he was going to be a gamer. He was born in 1977, so he's basically a year younger than me. Started playing games with 2600 Atari, so basically the same gaming history I had. And said his son was born in 2004, the same year as Half-Life 2, Doom 3, and the launch of the Nintendo DS. So big gap there. So basically what he did is he said he wanted to see would his son still appreciate games if he was brought up gaming the same way that he was. So what he did is he basically started his gaming career for his son on his 4th birthday and started him playing Pac-Man with a plug-and-play little TV adapter, one of these little built-in controllers that had the run in there, the original Pac-Man. It also had on it Galaxian, Rally X, Dig Dug, and Super Pac-Man, and Pac-Man Plus, and some of those games. And what he did is he basically went through and said he would only let his son play the games on that first device, going all the way back to the arcade industry, until he beat and got through it, and then would let him go up. So said he was worried that this would mess with stuff, but then he tweeted out saying, Elliot is obsessed with playing Pac-Man on TV. It's like watching myself in the 1982.
And then he said, would it be? If he's not experiencing anything else, that makes perfect sense. I don't know why you'd expect otherwise.
So this is his son being 4 years old when he started, right? Son's 4 years old.
Yeah.
It says, next thing says, he got better quickly. 6 weeks later, he was beating my high scores in Dig Dug and regularly getting to high stages of Pac-Man and its sequels. And it says, he put it as he got to level 5 in Pac-and Pal and all by himself. Pretty awesome. Then he picked up another plug-and-play thing. We gave him Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Mappy, Pole Position, and Xevious. And when he finally got done with those, he finally moved him on to the NES. And so through that, he kept going and gave him access. He said, Ellie and I are working our way through canon, beat Mega Man 2 last week, and just finished off Ganon in Legend of Zelda Next Mario. And this is going through actually very fast. And so as he goes in there, he says that by age 5, he could beat some parts of moderately difficult platformers like Mario 3. And then it says, this is being 5 years old, he put a tweet out there, said, Elliot just finished Super Mario 3 World 1 in its entirety by himself. He's only 5. I'm a proud dad.
That's pretty impressive, yep.
And it says, by age 6, he was beating entire games on his own and finished Legend of Zelda on his own. Let's see, what else he said. Mario's 1 through 3, Mega Man 1 through 6, Castlevania 1 through 3, Rygar, Contra, and DuckTales. It says it's time to level up again. And put him onto the Nintendo 64, then he moved him up into modern PC gaming. All through the era, and basically said his son was loving it. And never once, because he never exposed him to the later generation as fast, with how amazing the gaming was, but had an appreciation because of how quickly he went through it, to the difficulty of those old games. And so by getting to the later ones, was just smoking these things. Getting
as
through
he would,
yeah,
that makes perfect sense, yeah.
So there's a lot more
to really interesting, actually.
It's a neat concept, right? It's something I've actually thought about if I ever had the opportunity to raise a kid that I would want to do myself. So anyhow, that's all the time we have for the week. So I just want to tease that one out there. Please check out the link and everybody go read the rest of the article because it's honestly a really good read. And it's kind of, you can feel the enthusiasm of the father as he's going through it. So all right, we got 30 seconds, sir. Give me everything that people need to know before we end things up for this week.
You have been listening to ShowX on VTWRussians.com. We always appreciate you tuning in, and we also appreciate you doing these following things. Check us out on twitter.com/GoHex, twitter.com/DocDead, and twitter.com/VTWShowX. Check us out on Facebook, type in ShowX, and you will find us there, no problem. Go to VTWRussians.com and find all the other shows there. Anything you're particularly interested in, try different genres, try our different shows. We only have quality podcasts on our little station. Thanks very much to Gnomewise and the crew for letting us be on Alpha Geek Radio. We do very much appreciate it, sir. We are enjoying the extra little viewership, and we hope we enhance your station as well. Check us out and support us by going along to patreon.com/showx. You will find us there without the Pierce, not the Pierce Brosnan. Oh, jeez, it's Sean Connery.
Wow,
Wrong
really?
James Bond.
From a Scotsman? Really?
Oh man, I know, wrong James Bond. Patreon.com/showx to support us there. We do appreciate every little penny you can put forward. I think the minimum is actually £1, but $1, but we do appreciate every little bit that comes through. And finally, check us out every Sunday night for the gaming night. We do not always take part, but the community usually does. So go on to Ventrilo and find us there, and you can help us out. We do appreciate you guys going and hanging out with the fellow community and talking about things you find interesting in the show, and so on and so forth. And finally, truly finally, send in emails to showx@VTWRussians.com. We always appreciate hearing your geek cred and so on and so forth. And we love you guys. Thanks for listening in. And thanks for having on the show, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And we will catch you again next week, hopefully with a special guest. All right, everybody. See you on the gaming night. Bye.
Bye. See you next zombie. Good night. I forgot.
It was 3